I want to take it a little further back and sort of talk about how we sort of got to Bede, and certainly how the mayor, I think, came to the idea of doing an arts and entertainment district. In 2003, the Bloomington Area Arts Council, in partnership with Americans for the Arts, did a Arts as Economic Development Prosperity Study, which indicated that the arts in Bloomington contributed about $44.5 million to the local economy annually. And when that report came out, it really began to get people thinking about the economic impact of the arts and cultural scene. And people started to look at it, I think, through a different lens. It became not just, you know, a great quality of life opportunity that we enjoy here in Bloomington, but a real economic driver. And so that sort of laid the foundation. And then subsequently after that, through a public process with Downtown Bloomington, Inc. and the City of Bloomington and many other stakeholders, a downtown infill and strategy plan was put together on how to put forth some specific initiatives to strengthen the downtown. And one of the recommendations in that plan was the development of an arts and entertainment district. And again, after the study was published, after the plan was put together, the conversations began after the mayor's election about the idea of an arts district as an economic development tool. And at that point, Denise was the lead, took the lead at the city for that. And I know beginning in about 2005, you guys started, did an exhaustive number of stakeholder meetings. I was at the Arts Council at the time, and I went to a few of those with arts organizations and artists and musicians and business owners and restaurant owners, and for about 2 years, stakeholder meetings and drawing boundary maps and so forth. And then in 2007, my position and my cohort, Adam Wason, who's the small business and sustainable development positions, were added to the city staff, and my charge was to sort of take all the great work that Denise and her team had put together as far as defining a boundary and getting stakeholder support, and that was to take that forward, to put a plan together and begin implementation. And so in 2007, we started the strategic planning process, which was a series of large and small group meetings with restaurant owners, retail, artists, gallery owners, musicians, arts organizations, CVB, Chamber of Commerce, I mean, everybody at the table. And I think another interesting thing about our cultural district is that we really have the for-profit business sector at the table. They were part of our strategic planning process. They're part of our ongoing advisory committee process. We felt like that we're really a partner. It isn't an arts district that's just about arts and culture, although that's an important part of what we do. Retail and restaurant and other amenities like parks help make the downtown great. Right. So that's an important part of the picture for us.
I think, again, at the sort of base of our reasoning for arts as economic development is that the arts and cultural component drives business traffic. I mean, it brings in folks who buy tickets for a show will also stop and have dinner, or stop and do some shopping downtown, those kinds of things. So it's not only the appreciation of the arts, and it's also truly an economic development engine.
And how do you see, I mean, that's an interesting perspective, and when you start talking about, well, we have stakeholder meetings, and in those stakeholder meetings are restaurants or for-profits, businesses downtown that aren't necessarily directly arts related or wouldn't consider themselves directly arts related. I know because I hear it. There are people out in the community that they still don't fully understand the connection. They say, well, why are we're trying to build a solid, downtown. We're trying to invest in our community, particularly during challenging economic times. Well, why is the city looking at the arts as a place to invest? And one of the things that we've told people over and over again, and you've been out, letting people know that this is a number one. It's a step. It's not. Our entire local economy isn't based on the arts, but it's an important factor. And on top of that, it drives so many other aspects of our local economy, from bringing people here as a destination, to getting artists involved, to bringing people to the downtown.
Right, absolutely. And again, to just touch on what Denise said, it's a symbiotic relationship. A performance at the Buskirk Chumley Theater brings people in at night, who then go to restaurants, who then afterward might go to a club. So again, it's a very symbiotic relationship, and we've understood that, I think, from the beginning, that it is what, you've got to have entertainment to drive retail, and you've got to have great retail to encourage people to come on down during the day when entertainment may not be open. Again, it's a very symbiotic relationship, and we're very fortunate in our downtown that we have a very broad I mean, we've got pretty much the entire pie. I mean, we've got residential, we again have entertainment, we have restaurants, we have retail, we have arts and culture, we have parks. I mean, when I went to a cultural districts conference in Columbus, Ohio back in the winter and talked about the assets that we had in our culture, I was like, the envy of everyone, because in every other district that was represented, somebody was either looking for a residential component, or someone was looking for someone was looking to encourage the theater development, someone wanted more after-hours entertainment options. I mean, we have the entire picture, which is great for us. Yeah. We're very fortunate.
Beyond the sort of consumer spending angle, that economic impact factor, there's also the attractiveness of the community of where you might want to live, and having these kinds of amenities, and the Beeline that you spoke about last month, and an arts district that's vibrant, it attracts people who want to live here, which that's a quality workforce, an educated workforce that will attract businesses.
And I think it gets into what I commented on earlier, which is people see all these. It's easy to take for granted when you're here and you see all these incredible amenities that we have, and people see it and they don't know where it came from. They just sort of assume that it's there and it just happens. And I think it's important for people to understand that it really is driven by this important aspect of entrepreneurship and people wanting to start businesses and wanting to be here and wanting to find a way to live here, and the city fostering that kind of growth, which I think that combination has worked very, very well for us. I want to talk about, maybe you can explain the percentage for the arts program, because this is something that we're going to talk about more this week. We've got the installation of the signature piece on the Beeline, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but and that's the fourth percentage for the arts piece? Or
yes, that's the fourth. Absolutely.
So, but that's kind of something that I had a hard time getting my hands around, that program. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what that is.
Absolutely. Well, first I want to say that in putting together the BEAD strategic plan, we wanted to make sure that to find roles for BEAD that didn't really step on other people's toes or other groups' toes. In other words, BEAD, we didn't look at BEAD as wanting to produce theater or run a gallery or do things. I think because we've already got established arts, for-profit and not-for-profit businesses doing that sort of thing. And so in looking for a niche for BEAD, early on, public art sort of rose to the forefront there, because no one in the community was really putting together public art installations, and it was an opportunity for BEAD to have an immediate impact, a visual impact. And when we surveyed other cultural districts, one of the things we picked up on was a great visual landscape, banners, public art, street activity, and things like that. And we felt like, again, public art was a place we could have some impact. And so in realizing that and sort of staking that area, we began to look at what our resources were, and percentage for the arts was one of the tools we had in our toolkit to start to implement some public art. And in fact, this is our fourth, as you mentioned, public art project that's been funded through Percentage for the Arts. And what that is a program where a percentage of the costs for specific city projects, they're generally construction projects of facilities and so forth, are put in the Municipal Arts Fund, and those are used to fund public art. The very first Percentage for the Arts project in the state of Indiana was Bloomington Waters, which is the fountain that's on the outside of City Hall. We also have two other projects. On the exterior of Fire Station number 2 is a limestone mural, and then we also have a sculpture in front of our animal shelter. And then this is the third one. And so what this project does is provide funding for substantial and significant public art projects. And so Dale's piece, Bloomington Banquet, is in the process of being installed, and we'll have the ribbon cutting dedication later on this week. But other project